The purpose of learning processes is to adapt and select behaviors that benefit us with the most or best rewards.
Why do we learn? To get things? To earn things? To access things? To look at our world and try to figure it out? All of that is the point of learning. Hi, I'm Sue McGuire, along with Laurence, and we are continuing our exploration of rewards. And the focus of today's podcast is the point of learning. So a heads up, just in case you hear barking in the background, shocker people, this is a podcast that involves
This is
dogs.
live.
So Kay is all excited about possibly getting high-speed internet. I mean, no, fiber optic internet, and so the work people are. Your dogs are saying,
trying to sort out a fault at the moment.
Let me just I don't get a kickback for this, but I ought to. I have fiber optic. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, 300 megabytes a second.
All I know.
At the moment, I get 4.
All I know is when I upload a video back in the olden days, it used to take, I'd come back, I have a cup of tea, come back.
Yeah.
Go back, have another cup of tea, come back. And now it's like within 30 seconds, 20 seconds. It's stunning.
Yeah.
It's
also updates coming down to your computer. You go, why is this page taking so long to refresh? Oh, it's busy sending sending an upgrade to my blah, blah, blah at the same time. So it's not enough space. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get spoiled because I remember the days when you used to have the and it dialed. People won't remember those. Oh, we're online. Oh my God, we're online. Yeah.
All right.
Stuff's changing.
And we have learned to be patient, and then we have learned to expect more. So
yeah, we adapt to what is what the reward is. The best reward.
Fast internet. And
well, because this is what we're going to talk about today is what's the point of learning. Yeah, the purpose of learning, this is a quote directly from Schultz, the purpose of learning processes is to adapt and select behaviors that benefit us with the most or best rewards. So is it rewarding to have this instant internet access?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. But only in context that we remember 20 years ago. But if you suddenly met the internet today and it was on this 300 megabyte download, whatever, would you consider that particularly rewarding? Probably not, because you didn't know what it was like originally.
So there, kid.
So rewards require experience as well. Experience of what it was before, and we notice the difference.
Learning. All right. So what is the point of it? The brain is constantly seeking and learning, and what I love about this realization is that how to access rewards and remembering how to get those rewards is learning.
Yes. That's the point of learning. So when we see we need something like food and food's over there, the gap between the two is learning. Now, say it's a mouse, they've got to learn how to find the best dustbins, or they've got to learn how to dig a hole or chew their way through something over here to be able to get food to live. Yes, or to be able to find a place to reproduce. So they would remember what they've learnt, what they've had to teach themselves, they remember.
Different things.
That's the purpose
different
of
things
learning.
for your dogs too. So whether or not they live in an urban setting, suburban setting, country setting, all kinds of learning.
Yeah. So that brand new puppy brain has no idea where it's going to go. So it's wired to be able to be super receptive to what works. Yes, so in one environment, one thing will work, in another environment, another will work. Well, this puppy has to adapt wherever it ends up. The same as living in the country is not the same as living in the town. And if you swap the two people over, they are usually disconnected for quite a while. I used to work for a farmer that had never been on a train, never been on the motorway. And he wanted to go to an exhibition of cows in London. And I thought about this and I thought, he's never going to manage that. He couldn't have driven from where we were to London. It was a big agricultural show and he wanted to go and see the best in the world type of thing. No way could he have caught a train. He couldn't even walk amongst crowds of people because he had to keep changing length of stride.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So if you've already lived in the middle of a hill, in the middle of the mountains, and you just go from A to B, you just walk whatever pace suits you. You don't dodge in and out of people. Yet you and I know if you were traveling on a train to London, you would have to negotiate crowds of people, sometimes coming towards you. Yes, or moving in these masses in different directions. Not a clue. And they would have had to catch the underground as well. And it was like, and I stood down and thought, I don't think that's a good idea at all. Just as equally, if you got somebody from the centre of London and dumped them on this mountain, and I said to them, you better go north because it looks like it's going to chuck it down now, they'd go,
Which way's north?
which
Yeah.
way's north? So, and they would know where home was, yet, he would always know exactly where everything was. The same as if you go for a walk with dogs, I go for a walk with my dogs. I could walk 9 dogs, and at any moment, I know exactly where each of them are. Oh, well, so-and-so's over there, and so-and-so's down there, and him's behind me. You have this sense of where they are. And I'm sure mothers have the same sense of, when they're out with their kids, they have a, sort of a link between knowing all the time where their children are.
Hope.
So, the minute you change these environments, we teach ourselves these skills, and that's what learning's about, to get this survival, from the rewards that give us what we need to be able to get through life. That's the point of learning.
Yeah. It's so you say, as trainers are simply people who live with dogs. We are seeking to improve our communication with dogs to benefit those who live together, to learn together. So this is where you go on. I love it. Does the dog need to learn to sit when required? Are you?
No, it's not, because, it's again, so say we were building a college course for, now one of the courses that I used to have to evaluate at our, what you would call community college, our sort of sixth form college, was for adults with learning disabilities. And we'd teach them life skills like how to use a telephone, this is pre-mobile phones, or how to catch a bus, or how to look after your money, all those life skills. In that area, that course had to suit those learners. But if they weren't in this urban area, those things would not be relevant. You might have to teach them things like, if you go through a gate and it's shut, you must always shut it. If you're walking down a road at night, you should wear light clothing. It's just country rules, are quite different from town rules. So the life skills are adapted, to each environment that you're going to live in. So the puppy brain is going to learn to live for the best rewards that are on offer in the environment they go to. So that 16-week-old puppy is an voracious learner. Learn. Watch people. When people move over here, oh, she might go to the biscuit tin, give me a biscuit, so I'll follow her. And if I do this and put my butt on the floor, she gets all excited and gives me a treat. Well, that's easy. We used to have when I had the Cavaliers, we had a dear little black and tan Cavalier that really wasn't supposed to survive. She was only 3 ounces when she was born, but we took her along the way. Anyway, she could sit by the most grizzled old farmer that would no more let his dog in the house than he would sleep in the middle of a field. Mind you, this guy used to, jacket tied up with a piece of string. Why spend money on that? And he used to come down the pub at night so that he could avoid having to light his own fire. And he'd drink a half pint, and it would take him 4 hours to drink it. Well, little Daisy Cavalier, she used to get out and she used to go down the end of this bench and sort of hop herself up on the bench at the far end and sort of snuggle up underneath his elbow, and he'd buy her a bag of crisps. It was like, because she could sit there and do the little sit and the old Disney eyes and put her paw on his arm, and he just did anything for her.
Yeah.
So learning gets you the best rewards. And if you've got to learn to park your butt on the floor to make people happy, you're going to do it. In this house, if you park your butt on the floor, I'm like, whatever. So the dogs don't bother do it. Doesn't work for me.
Absolutely.
But each dog needs to learn what they need to learn for their future life. I mean, I'm sure in your situation, you want, do you have to teach a dog to sit? Is that going to benefit that particular dog for life? There have been these studies on whether a sitting dog is more appealing for people. Are they more likely to rehome them? Well, it's just
It
window
is. It
dressing,
is
isn't it?
absolutely.
You know, it's like seeing a coat on a model that's, one of those skinny sized models. Oh, that would look nice on me. Well, no, it won't because it's a skinny person. So the sit is just like a little taster, a little
Hmm.
tempter for you, luring you. Oh, this is an obedient dog. And then you get the dog home and it's quite happy to rip up your sofa. So, yeah.
So we have to, I mean, we don't have to, but we want to because that's how we are. We have to become a little familiar with the neurobiology of what's going on in the brain. So then we can start
Mm,
dipping
mm, mm.
into our new friend, reward prediction errors. Dare we start our
Yeah,
conversation on
yeah.
that?
Well, this is a big step away from probably what we've all been trained to do, which is, the ABC, antecedent behavior
Hmm.
consequence. Do this, see the cue, do the behavior, give the dog a treat. Click and treat was the original name.
Yeah,
Click and
yeah, yeah.
see, la 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 la. Yeah, no, this is a lot more complex than we thought. So this is somebody who's come to this with all of the, you know, inquiry as to what's happening in the brain, and that there isn't something in the brain called the reward center. Um, but when he examines what's happening with this new modern science, where they can actually, have a look at what kicks off when certain things are happening in the brain, they're able to identify what fires when we get rewards, but not all rewards are the same. Well, yeah. So certain rewards might give you different sense of different types of rewards or give you different pleasures, but it's also the predictability of whether this reward is what I'm expecting. So let's go to peaches because we often
Yes,
talk
we
about
do.
peaches. Okay. You get peaches every year off your tree, yada, yada, yada. They're warm, they're lovely, they're great. Peaches for us are, you buy them at the supermarket and it says, buy one, get one free because we've got so many of these unripe peaches that you should keep this little punnet of 6 in the fridge. The other punnet of 6 you need to leave out to sort of ripen over the next week or two. So they taste like
Mm.
wood. Peaches, whatever. And then you bought me fresh peaches off a tree that you'd picked an
Yeah,
hour before. And I ate one of those and it was like, OMG, I didn't know they could taste like that. And I still remember that. And I haven't experienced it since, but you did do it
I
every
did.
morning for
Yeah,
me, didn't
you know.
you? So if I'm the moment, oh yes, it's a peach, jolly good. Yes, I like peaches. I was surprised that they were
Hmm.
warm because who would have warm peaches? And they were warm
Yes,
from
they
the
were.
sunshine. So when I ate one, my, you know, neurons just went into like, something's different here. Take a note, remember, because you might want to do this again. So my whole system fired up, and I got a tremendous amount of pleasure out of how really good this peach was. The byproduct of this was, I want to know how I can get more. And that's what learning is. I'm not going to come back to them and to get some more peaches, but
Oh,
it changed my view of what peaches should be. So now if I buy peaches, I'm thinking, yeah, do I want to go back to the old
oh,
pleasure?
heck yes. That's a yeah.
No,
You
I
can't.
can't.
It's hard.
No, they
Oh,
taste
I
like
see.
wood. They
Oh
taste
no,
like
but
wood.
it's very
Believe
contextual.
me.
In England, hell no.
Well, if I hadn't known how
Ah,
good
I see.
peaches could be, I'd have been satisfied with the old peaches. Now I know what they can be. My experience has changed my view of whether those old peaches are rewarding
Yeah.
or not.
Hmm.
Are you with me? I mean, I don't even know anybody that makes peach pie out of peaches that we get shipped up from Spain, I suppose. They have to ship them before they're ripe, yada, 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 and you can buy them. I think you can pay quite a lot of money for ones that ripened on the tree. But I'm still like, yeah, no, they're not as good as the.
Yeah.
So when you do an activity and you're expecting a reward, there might be an error between your expectation and what actually happens. And when that difference happens, your brain goes into superfire. Then I'm going to go, what's happened here? Why is it different? Yes, why is this worse than I was expecting? Why is it better than I'm expecting? And I will set about learning the difference because I want to get those good peaches.
Okay.
If it means I have to build a greenhouse or a summer house or a warm house, that I've got to keep heated because peach trees don't work outdoors here. Yeah. I'm going to have to learn how to do that. Like they grew pineapples in Victorian times, and that was like a pineapple's worth the price of a car in those days. It was just because took so much to actually grow one. But this is what sets us forward to learn more all the time, because we want these better
So
rewards.
if someone had attached, um, sensors to your brain when you were eating that peach that first time, they would have seen all of
Hmm.
this activity firing up, so to
Yeah,
speak.
one of
Yeah.
your peaches. Yep,
So that's
yep. So
good.
yeah, so they're looking at the activation, the state of where these areas are firing. I don't know exactly where the areas are. This is not
No.
my field at all, but they can actually monitor the greater result of what's happening in my brain when the reward is more than I expected. And they can also see when it's just like, yeah, that's what I expected, or worse than I expected. And it's these changes in the reward that drives the system to learn. So, the peaches that are far less. So if you came over here and went to our supermarket and ate a peach, you would learn,
Not to do that again.
don't buy peaches in the UK. You'd probably break a tooth trying to bite into one. Yeah. Occasion, but
Yeah.
strawberries in the UK,
Different.
I mean, I wouldn't even bother with them in America. So there's something about our expectation of strawberries in June, the Wimbledon time for strawberries. They are just magical, same as your peach, your food again, magical. So it's the same for the dog. So yeah, the dog sits, get a treat, here's the kibble. Oh God, same old shit. Okay. So the dog will keep on performing probably because it gets the treat. There's a reward from you giving the attention when you give it the treat, we hope, or maybe not. You just give the dog a treat and look somewhere else at the same time. Yeah, what the same again. And over time, the value of that reward is probably going to lessen because it's exactly what they're expecting. So the brain tends to go into, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, right,
Hmm.
okay. Not that, oh, yes, I'll do that because something cool is going to happen and I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'll enjoy it. Oh, I'm going to chase it. Wow, didn't think about that. And there was this sort of protocol where you mix a
Right.
bag of treats, where you mix up bits of liver with kibble and cardboard and other rubbish in there. So the dog never knew what it was going to get. I mean, this was pre the days before we knew about this reward prediction error. So that, you keep the variability alive. But every time it's less than they're expecting, they're going to learn what?
Yeah.
Yeah, next time I might just not. Like it's taught me, I just would not bother buy
Well, then
peaches
at
over
some
here.
point, that unpredictability does come back to hurt you. So you have to provide some
If you,
predictability initially, wouldn't you think?
the predictability is going to be rewarding, but you don't know
Okay.
how it's going to be rewarding. So, think of the things you do over and over again. When I was doing the course, I was watching, this is the beginning of lockdown, and I had Netflix. And one of my favorite TV programs is The Big Bang Theory. And I think it's something like 183 episodes. It's a phenomenal amount. So it lasted me several weeks. And each episode, without adverts, was a lot more pleasurable. Yeah, without having to run things through forwards, backwards. You just got the straight one. Without having to wait for a week for another episode. These are all rewards that came into watching 3 or 4 episodes at a time. And that was absolutely the anticipation of that got me through the day because I knew I'm going to sit down this evening and watch 3 or 4 episodes of Big Bang Theory from the beginning. It also gave me a tickle knowing where things were going, because I think the series covered nearly 10 years. So you knew what was going to happen to the people as they went, but it was still a joy to watch it. The reward was different from when I watched it the first time because I could enjoy it more without the adverts. I could enjoy it more knowing I could have sat there for 7 hours if I needed to. Those things added to the reward. So that was different to the first time. The story was slightly different each time. It wasn't like somebody was going to die halfway through and I was frightened of what was going to happen. I knew there was going to be up days and down days, and I knew the characters were going to develop, and I knew all this was going to happen. And even though you could say, well, it was the same every time, it wasn't. There was variation in that program that was unpredictable, but still gave me pleasure watching it. So I think we can't just say you've got to treat the dog. It's just so much not that anymore. It's all these elements that how much I enjoy giving the dog the treat is part of the treat. Being able to select something that might be a bit different from what you've had before is part of the treat. Well, would you like to try this? And the dog tries it and goes, oh, no, I don't want to eat that again. That's okay. I've learned from that. I won't give you one of those next time. Yes, because to do that over and over again means that I'm disregarding whether it is of reward value to the dog. And there's also, some dogs will just eat stones. They really don't care what they get given. They just think, well, it's going to fill my stomach up, so it must be fine.
Oh.
Have you ever done the air
yes,
cookies?
But,
So,
but try not to.
So Arnold would take 5 air cookies before he realised he hadn't actually eaten anything. So I would toss a treat, he'd open his mouth, jump, shut his mouth, good, do it again, lovely, spin, excellent, have another one. So what was the reward? Was it being right? Was it the jump and the pretend catch? Was it the thought that he had eaten something, but, well, whatever, I don't remember it, but, it's good. What was the reward? Was it the interaction? Was it the fact that I showed pleasure in what he did? All these threads are part of treat.
Man.
Yep, but we get so mechanical about, or so wrapped up about doing our good mechanics of delivering treats. It's not a mechanical process. It should never be. It's it's a human process.
There's a quote that I actually pulled out that really took me back from the paper that we keep referencing, and he says that the RPE with a C such that an unpredicted reward elicits an activation, but a fully predicted reward elicits no response. And the omission of a reward causes depression. A fully predicted reward isn't. So that flies in the face of pretty much everything I thought.
But But the response is, I'm not going to learn any more. There's no point in me learning any more because the same thing happens every time.
A point of diminishing.
So every time you eat a peach, if it's the same every time, all that no response means is I'm not going to change my behavior in any way. It'll just stay exactly the same.
But at some point, that would be okay.
Well, you're building a habit. So now you've got a habit that you do without being aware of how you're doing it. Yep. So, how many times do you make coffee the same way, the same time every day? Now, what if you made a coffee? Coffee's your buzz, isn't it?
Maybe.
And something about it was like, this is exceptional. Wow, what happened here? Now it's not the same. Something was different. Ooh, did I do something? Did I put extra in? Did I change this? Did I change that? What was? So that's the activation, is you becoming alert and awake and attentive is the activation, not whether it gave you pleasure.
That makes sense.
The coffee will still give you pleasure, but pleasure without the attentiveness.
Yeah, okay. So that makes sense, because then I was thinking that in the process of interacting with our dogs,
Yeah. Oh, no, you love me. That's all right, fine.
Yeah.
You with me? The whole, give me treats. Yeah, I know you love me. But then you do something different. You go, oh my God, you really do love me. Wow. Well, I'm going to work for that again. You love me that much,
wait a second.
you?
What was that one?
Wow.
I think I might follow you around a little bit more today. Exactly what you said.
Yeah. So there are times when you don't particularly want, there are times when you want passive learning. No doubt about it. This is the difference between working out where management will do.
Yeah.
Yep. Passive learning and active learning, discriminating between those 3 states of learning. So, for instance, going through a gateway, I actually want passive learners. If I'm going out in the field, the country habit is when a gate opens, you stand still or just wait. Yeah, cool. Because, yada, yada, in this position, you're going to get food. Oh, okay, great. I'm not training the dogs as such, but they have learnt that near the gate and doing all this, undo the gate, means there's good grub on the floor. So they're not actively trying to go, what shall I do when she opens the gate? Would you like me to sit down, stand, spin, walk backwards, what? Stand still? I don't know, whatever. They're not actively learning. They're just, whatever. And it gets the treats every time. Whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
A fully predicted reward list.
Jump in the car, get a treat. Cool. I don't want active learning. I don't want you to get creative. I don't want you to work out how to get in the car through the side door or the front door. The back door, you jump in, you'll get a treat. Yeah, cool. That's reliable. I'll do that. Okay. That's a habit. But if you want the dog to do something like searching with a bit more oomph, or retrieving with a bit more, I need to get this back to you, or jumping with a bit more flight or forward progress, that is when you want that active learner.
Okay. Okay. And I think that that's the difference. I think, yeah, okay. How do we apply this?
Yeah, so it's same as if there's a whole bunch of habits that we have on the computer, which is, once you get that computer breakdown and you have to set the whole thing up again, you realize what your habits are. Yeah, and how you start to presume, this does what it's expected to do. The minute it doesn't do what you expect it to do, i.e. the predicted reward's not happening, there's an error, you go into, hey, what's happening here? Yep. And you have to start working out what's different. What have we changed about the settings? Yes. What have I asked it to do different? Is there something else compromising it?
So, Kay, I think the confusion that I can probably see people having is you, in the reward process, you want the dog to know what is in play. Fair? Like chicken. Let's just use chicken. Um,
So they want to know what's offered
yeah,
before they get it.
No,
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 no.
no, no, no. They have to
Okay, no,
trust.
go ahead.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, like,
sorry.
let's say, you can't help but smell of what you are probably going to be offering. So what I'm looking at, so I always like to, is there a confusion happening if you say, hey, this is what I found today, um, chicken or whatever, and the dog goes, oh, well, that's an interesting one, and you've already sort of provided them information about what possibly is in play that day or this session. Is that wrong? I
Well,
mean,
yeah. Well, no, every
yeah,
time you eat, chicken's in the room. No, every time you have your dinner, you with me? So the dogs will smell potential rewards
yes,
all throughout the day. Going to smell another dog's urine is a potential reward, but they don't know what story they're going to get out of it until they get there. Oh, I must go and have a look at that. When they chase a squirrel, they don't know whether they're going to get it or not, but I
right.
want to do it. So, if you've cooked yourself salmon salad, the dogs are going, salmon. No, I don't usually get salmon, so I'll go back to bed. But suddenly, you kick a piece of salmon over the room and go, hey, do you want this? And they get it, go, wow, next time salmon's cooking, I'm going to be more attentive because I wasn't expecting a reward then. So sure, if you load up with
Hmm.
chicken and the dog's going, well, you've got chicken on board today, and you give them a piece of kibble,
Ah, yes,
you're
you
going to be in
are.
trouble.
Okay.
Maybe not once or twice. You're building up an experience of, if I put every ounce of effort I've got into running towards you away from those birds, I expect more than a piece of kibble. Because if you give me a piece of kibble, even if you give me a piece of chicken, I'm probably not going to do it again. Or I will, but only half the effort. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're learning. So, if we're looking for, if you could, if you like, categorize your activities you want the dogs to be, whatever, that's nice. Give me a bit of kibble. I'm good. As opposed to full effort, 100% attentive, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to get this right, then the rewards for that needs to be on a variable process, but it always needs to
Mm-hmm.
be rewarding. You've got to experiment with your rewards to find out what the dog finds rewarding. This object, event, activity. What is it that the dog
And
finds
even in the
rewarding?
food items, you need to find out what they find rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And food is not consistently
No.
rewarding.
Uh-uh.
You try and have peaches and then eat a burger
Never
afterwards. You go,
good.
oh no, that's not
No.
right. No, I've eaten my peaches. I can't have dessert and then, oh no, that's not right. Like peaches for breakfast. Well,
Yeah.
that would suit me fine. But you don't want burgers on toast for breakfast. They're just certain things that just because you like them at certain times of day doesn't mean you always want them at whatever time. And once you've eaten them, you often don't want
Okay.
more. So being able to be savvy about likely rewards. I've been talking about this with a blog I've just done on the right reward for the right activity. So somebody brought up this question of training a young sheepdog before they go to the sheep to lie down on the cue to lie down and do a click and treat. Yep, because he's out in the field, he's only got kibble. So what's going to start to happen is this young pup will learn to hear the word lie down, hit the deck, look to you, you walk over or ask it to come and get a treat and food. Now, when it's working on the sheep, you're not going to use
No.
food. So the dog goes out and you say, lie down, and the dog's going, no, this is a bad idea. I really shouldn't lie down at this point, because if I lie down, I might lose the sheep. So lying down on the sheep is a bit of again, it's a bit of a red herring. The dog's just got to come to a stop, end going left, stop, start walking on. Okay, so as long as it stops and you give it a cue for another behavior, job's done. It doesn't actually have to lie down. And if it does lie down and you click the reward, are you going to walk around there and give it food? No, you're not. And the dog's now, oh, the reward is doing more sheep. Oh my goodness. So now I'm in conflict, and you'll see this happen. This whole behavior disintegrates because the reward that you thought you trained it on is not the reward that is going to be used in the future. And it almost put the dog into conflict, like using, if you're taking your dogs to the park or, the beach, and when they arrive, you want to give them treats for sitting in the car quietly, and they're going, at this moment in time, food
Really not
is really not what I want. I want you to open this freaking door and let me just run for the pleasure of running, because that's my experience here. That's my reward. Give me a treat. All right. They'll often eat it out of habit, but it's not the reward they're looking for.
Okay.
So it's getting the right reward at the right time. When you want them actively learning, and finding the reward that suits what the dog would consider a reward for the job they're doing. And we can see the difference. This is where you want sort of citizen science coming in. If you could actually collect data on using, say, a pretty average reward for super effort, how long would it take you to achieve that behavior? Or if you actually used the reward that is for the function of that behavior, like the dog stopping on the sheep, if you stand still and I'll wait for you to stand quite still, I'm going to give you another direction to work on the sheep. I've seen it too many times, and I'm not going to go back and go using poor rewards, but you think, gosh, this dog's learning it fast. This dog's got it quickly, because it wasn't about the food. It was about the social interaction with me that dog went, oh, somebody's paying attention to me at last that understands me. Oh, great. Oh, and I'll eat the food for her. But it wasn't the food that was the reward. It was that somebody's looking at me, giving me attention. This is just so good. Yes, that might be what it was. Or the dog that you do want to stand still and wait until you're ready to greet it. That social interaction was the reward, not the food. It's like a parent that you've had that's only comes home on Friday nights and brings you a new toy or a bag of sweets to replace not being with you for the other 4 nights of the week. That's not the reward I want. It is rewarding, but no, it doesn't work for me at that time. So could we actually set up an experiment where you get, the moments in your life when you've had this super fast learning? Well, that happened a lot quicker than I expected. Perhaps the reward is what was driving it.
Wow.
We probably thought we were far better trainers, Oh, well, I taught this dog, or this is a super clever dog. No, the reward for that behavior at that time was so spot on, hit the target, not that target, this target, of what the dog was expecting. Yes, and it was above what the dog was expecting, so they're going to go to every effort to secure that again next time. And that's where we get these super learners.
I mean, I'm already feeling guilty for all those years that I tried to be very
No.
anal about it.
No.
And probably ended up, well, I had.
You can also go the other way, where people get overexcited about delivering a reward. And this can just frighten the crap out of a dog. And just be calm. Was this good? Yeah. It was good. And and a sincere reward might be a lot more effective, yes, and help the dogs than this. Oh, that was jolly good. Well done.
Shove.
So it's not always about super rewards. Are not always about more arousing or more exciting or more tasty. They're more appropriate to the behavior that you want to secure and worth working for again. So much worth working for again.
I think what I'm already thinking in my brain is if this is a testimony for really observing your dog's behavior responses, this is it. Again.
Yeah.
Never make...
Yeah. And then somebody says, oh, well, I want to teach my dog so-and-so. Okay, what reward are we going to use? Oh, I'm not bothered about that artificial treats. No, we're going to start with a reward. Because once we start and go, at this time, in this room, for you at this moment, this is the most powerful reward we can give this dog. Now you can
Right.
start working on the behavior.
Yeah.
But instead, it's always the other way around. How do I get my dog
Do.
to? And it's this focus on the behavior. Oh, and by the way, there's a reward.
Yeah.
No, flip it around the other
Powerful.
way.
Very powerful. And you say at the very
Significant.
end, variations are the central for incentive learning processes to occur, not repetition. Variations. And I think people are just going to look at that and go,
yeah.
blah, variations.
Yes. The dog trusts you. You will reward me at the end of this sequence of work I've just done for you, and I know it'll be good. I trust you. Yeah. We need a sort of an entire reward chest of treasures. Yes, that
knowledge.
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. How can I reward this? I tell you what. Well, or have you tried? Or could you do? Like we're getting sort of. I remember buying the dogs a new toy, and the pleasure was hiding this toy at the bottom of the toy box. The toy box is full of toys. 13 soft toys, 4 squeaky ones. It's like a trunk full of toys. But that new one, which I've just shown her and put at the bottom, the pleasure she got from going, that's not it, that's not it, that's not it. Oh, I forgot that toy. No, but that's not it. Digging down to the bottom of the toys was an absolute pleasure. Just the once, just not doing that every day. Sit, I'll hide your toy for you. That's not it. It's about finding out what we can do to give them pleasure.
So then you can tell my family that when I bring new toys home, there's a reason I'm doing it, other than the fact that it gives me absolute pleasure to see them. Oh my God, it's a round fuzzy thing, like a million other round fuzzy.
So what? Yeah. So what is the pleasure in a new toy as opposed to a familiar toy?
Because I brought it to them, I think, and it's new.
Okay, so say you got all your old toys, wash them to get the gob off. That helps. Put them away for a year, and then come home with one. Would that have the same effect as a toy they've never seen before? Okay. Are you with me? So that whole RPE it's going to be a reward that I've not experienced before. Oh my goodness, that's different. Never. Oh wow. Yep. And everyone's got a dog knows that new toy far more attractive than old toy.
And I rotate my dog's toys. I used to rotate my kids' toys. I'd put them away for 6 months, bring them out 6 months. Yeah, so I'd launder them, put them away, bring them out. Oh my God, like you said. But
I remember Merrick sitting under the washing line when all her toys were on the washing line. It was like, oh dear.
That's so good.
But yes, certainly washing the gob off helps, and having different activities with different toys helps. It's not always the same activity. Certain toys are only safe for certain games, so they're not available all the time. And certain toys are free access, and certain toys will only be with me. So having that, those variety of things you can do with a toy makes a toy so much richer, so much richer.
Oh, RPE, reward prediction error.
Yeah. Well, let's hope in 5 years' time we just talk about RPEs every day.
I mean, it was a steep learning curve for me when I first heard about it, because I didn't put it as a positive, negative, or neutral. I was trying to figure out, what does that mean? Oh, wow. Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some other experiments they were looking at about this blocking aspect as well that are quite complex, but, it's there. The science is there to show us that this is what's happening in the brain. Yeah. And often the time, if we don't know what's happening, we start to explain it with, oh, it's a jackpot, or, oh, it's this, or, oh, it's that. And we start explaining stuff off that we don't understand. Now we're getting more understanding. We just cannot put up with this, oh, well, it was a jackpot. Oh, I'm going to jackpot this. You go, no, you can't. And I'm afraid even the pre-Mac one as well, oh, I'm going to pre-Mac. Well, no. No.
Do we dare?
Those are the days when reward was a pellet coming down a machine. Well, of course, activities would like to be more rewarding. The same with assumptions about, if you want the child to eat the broccoli, then you give them dessert afterwards. No. Make the broccoli better. Make the broccoli more rewarding. Grow better broccoli. I remember that because last night I ate broccoli. We're back to food again. And they were sweet stem broccoli. And wow.
So you had a little
Yeah,
bit of
and if broccoli had been like that as a kid, I would have
wasn't boiled
eaten
to
more of it.
death.
No, 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 no. Not on the range of peaches, but certainly as a vegetable, it had a lot more pleasure, than I've got to eat the broccoli. Oh, this is a lot more nice. So the RPE went off. So next time I go shopping, I absolutely would look for sweet stem broccoli. Change the broccoli. Don't keep saying, well, if you eat this crap that tastes like wood, I'll let you have a peach afterwards.
For more information and links to articles and courses, be sure to take a look at the episode notes. Be sure to tell a friend, fellow trainer, dog person to listen to the podcast Learning About Dogs, and give us a rating on Apple iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for listening.